Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks. This is episode 31. It's another Sunday evening. Often to be Saturday, but it's a special event this weekend. So we want to make sure we got that watched before we had our episode. So I am John. I guess just John this time. And this is just Andrea this time.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing?
Good. Although I kind of miss being Joaquin and Sasha.
I'm gonna have to change the names up.
Yeah. When we do some like special events, special episodes, we'll just have to switch it up and see who we want to be for the evening.
Maybe that's the bonus spoiler cast episode stuff too. Like if I'm wearing my hats during that, change the names up. We're gonna give Alan like a dozen different names for each of us, and then just be different each time.
Yes, please change our name tags every single time. And maybe we'll switch them like mid-episode. I don't know. We could have a whole lot of fun. See how much Alan's paying attention.
All right. Well, yes, like I said, the event this weekend was DC Fandome, so we'll get to that soon. But before that, we got a few news stories and got to talk about what drink you're drinking.
Yeah. So we're again in the middle of days, as we seem to be lately. So August 21st, Friday, was National Sweet Tea Day. And in 2 days, so Tuesday, August 25th, it is going to be Whiskey Sour Day. So I do not have a whiskey sour, even though that was definitely my jam in college for a while until they got a little too sweet. But I've got some sweet tea rocking. So I'm trying to rehydrate because I was just out in the hot 90-degree sun playing softball. So got to get that hydration going.
Yeah, it is a cooker out today.
Yes, it was a little brutal. So how about yourself? What are you rocking?
So I'm combining the two. So I think my drink sort of looks like sweet tea.
It does indeed.
That kind of amber. You could think it's that. And then whiskey sour. Well, I have a lot of grapefruit juice in here, so that's sour. So
okay, yeah.
That's how I'm making this work.
All right, I like it. Make it work for you.
But it's like Pim. It's basically Pims and grapefruit juice, and it's really good.
Hey, is that the Pims that I gave you?
I don't know. We go through Pims on occasion, so I can't guarantee that this is the same bottle.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna pretend like it is. So I'm sponsoring. Okay, I'm sponsoring your drinks tonight.
Nice. Sounds good, baby. Well, before we get into it, is there anything crazy different that's happening in your life or anything? Just trying to stay cool and playing softball?
Yeah, no kidding. Always a challenge in August in Minnesota, staying cool while playing sports outside. Other than that, I mean, I really have been staying indoors this weekend because, as I said last week, Lucifer, the new season 5, dropped on Netflix this Friday. I'm already halfway through it, and I'm totally just like loving catching up on this series because I love this show.
Oh, good. So. Nice.
Yeah, and then obviously yesterday I was trying to hit all of DC Fandome or as much as I could. So, yeah.
Yep. Did you get a chance to try Lovecraft Country?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
I like it a lot. It's got a good setup, but it's a little early yet to tell what exactly they're going to do with the rest of the series. You know what I mean? Like there's a solid foundation. I've been introduced to all the characters. Like I've got the general idea of where they're starting out from. I just am not sure where it's going, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, obviously I don't want to know everything right from the get-go, but it was a little light on detail of where the series is headed, so I'm interested to see how that's going to progress. But
Okay.
I mean, solid performances from all of the actors. I think it's got great early ties into like Lovecraftian horror. Like it's got very
Mhm.
subtle and very overt nods, um, to Lovecraft stories. So I'm excited for the series to continue and see where it goes. So well done,
Did
highly
they
recommend it.
did it, did they do a little like sometimes at the end of the first episode or wherever it's like what you can expect, like kind of a little teaser for the rest of the season at all to give you a clue at all?
Oh, not that I know. But I didn't catch it live
Oh, so it was
when
a
it aired.
recording or something.
Right. So I mean, it could have
Yeah.
cut off before that happened. Um, so yeah, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, in other like HBO things, I
Mhm.
just saw this today, The Vow documentary
Yeah.
series. I hadn't heard of this coming or whatever, but Ashley and I are always into watching documentaries on cults or serial killers or something like that. And so
Yeah.
this is a covering another cult.
Mhm.
And it I think it starts tonight, 6 part, 10 o'clock Central tonight, I believe.
Okay.
Um, so we're probably gonna give that a shot.
Sure. Yeah, you're gonna catch it tonight live.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope
Mhm.
to. Got to get up early, but we'll make it happen. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah,
do
I
you
did.
watch
I did.
documentaries at all much, or?
I do. Usually, Chris. Chris is the main driver of our documentary watching. But like I was obsessed with the Netflix show Explained. I love that show. And incidentally, I loved actually the show on cults. Um,
Mm,
so I do like documentaries. I do like that sort of we're going to dive into the background of something kind of show, but it's just
mhm.
usually not first on my radar. So I'm usually watching it because
Sure. Yeah.
like Chris has heard of it and like is really interested in checking it out, and then like sure, yeah, like it sounds good, and then I end up getting hooked along with him. So
Mhm. I
the
love
only
this world of.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say the only documentary
No, go
series I've watched, I've forced Chris to watch is Tiger King, and I don't know that he's going to be repeating that experience.
ahead.
I don't know if he like trusts my judgment on documentaries now, so I may have
Oh,
lost
that's
him.
funny. Yeah. Yeah, I love this age we're in where there's lots of things to complain about with the age of like this media ubiquity everywhere,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, social media, and just how pervasive information is, yet so pervasive disinformation is. And but one of the good things is it seems like we get a lot of people that are exploring history or
Mhm.
cults or current events or whatever, and they're in form of podcasts or in these
Right.
documentaries. It's not always just like one long lengthy documentary movie
Yes.
that Hollywood produced or something. There's a lot of options now when it
Hmm.
comes to that kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that, and I tend to be more interested when it's a sort of series or mini series kind of thing. It's just easier to digest in pieces for me.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. Yep. um in lighter kinds of fare, Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Literally the lightest it can get. Season 2, the sneak peek for that is coming this Thursday.
Yep.
I've still been playing that on occasion. Um, it's just such a fun, like, little party game.
Hmm. Yeah, like
So
you said, their Twitter game is on point. So they've made me.
yes,
I don't even play the game, and I'm still like following them obsessively because they're
yep.
killing it. So.
Whoever's doing it, I don't know if it's a person or a team,
Hmm.
but often like they've been picking on one streamer and doing different, like they often a lesser person could go overboard. you start getting ridiculous.
Yep.
Not, but they're just pacing things and putting things out there in a really clean, like comedically well-timed fashion.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
so keep it up, Fall Guys Twitter.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of the social media we need, I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
there's just so much out there that, you get dispirited with social media and the way that, some people use it. But this is like the kind of thing that, I wish we would see more of on social media because it's perfect.
Yep. Yep. If only there was a way, and maybe there is, but to like restrict pretty severely in a very easy manner, like because Ashley stopped. She got off of Twitter for a week, just gave it a break or something like that the
Yeah,
last
for
week,
sure.
and do different stuff like that. But it would be nice if you could have this thing that was just because you missed the memes, basically. You missed the jokes, the funny animal videos, the whatever, like the
Yep.
things that really do actually make you smile or make you laugh,
Yep. Totally.
So you just gotta wade through all the crap to find it.
Yes, yes. Like a treasure hunt of some kind, like an awful sad treasure hunt.
Yeah. Speaking of treasure,
Mm,
Fortnite has they do plenty of bounty booty treasure hunting things.
yes.
That was kind of weak. I just made a thumbnail for the episode last week, and it had them during their season where I was like looking for treasure and stuff or whatever. So it was gold on it. So that's what
Hey,
I was in my mind.
works. It totally works. And I just said treasure hunt, so I mean,
Yeah.
look at
All
look at
right.
us tie it together. Teamwork makes
Yep.
the dream work.
Well, the new season begins Thursday.
Hmm.
So same day as the sneak peek of the Fall Guys stuff, we get
Hmm.
I guess the next battle pass will begin of Fortnite. Um, I'm excited because this season recently we had Aquaman tie-in. The
Yeah, I
map got
saw that.
flooded, and so there's Aquaman, and so that's neat. And now this next week they're going to be doing another Marvel crossover, and it seemed
Mm.
like in the teaser image it looked like Storm was in it. So
Ooh.
I'll be excited if I can get the Storm skin and stuff in the game.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, because they've surprised me. Like they did a big tie-in with Deadpool. His
Uh-huh.
stuff is still in there, and
Uh-huh.
then some like X-Force stuff. I think you're gonna have to hang up and try again, Andrea.
Yeah, I see. I
I'm
see I'm frozen in a weird position.
well, see on the screen here you are, but on Twitch, I don't see it that way. You're frozen in
Yeah.
a less weird position. So
Yeah, I see that. What the heck? All right. All right. I will be back shortly, I believe. We'll
okay.
see.
All right. Oh, there we go. All right. Now I can occupy and consume the entire screen. That's much better. Anyways, oh, we should come back already. Okay. Anyways, Fortnite, yeah, I hope they do. As I was saying, they've done cool tie-ins before. Like on one day, they just all of a sudden dropped this X-Force tie-in. So Deadpool had been there, but then they did Cable, Psylocke, and Domino. And I thought that was really cool because so often games they just always it's always Iron Man, it's always Spider-Man, whatever. Are you unfrozen?
I hope so.
Seems to be. You seem
Good.
to be unfrozen.
Good for me.
Yep. Well, speaking of Frozen, DC Fandome. The first thing I kind of saw with this was Gotham Knights,
Yeah, sure.
the new game, which Mr. Freeze is in. That's
Mhm.
my tie-in.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is Warner Brothers Studios. Well, first I should say DC Fandome. It's their
Hmm.
at-home 24-hour digital convention
Hmm.
that was free, and you can go and watch their panels. It was a little odd that, I mean, I kind of like it this way. Tell me what you think, but it's
Hmm.
where you had to catch things live. It was a live schedule, and they'd repeat things,
Yes.
but it was not on demand.
Yes. And it was tough to catch the repeat. It wasn't like
Yes.
intuitive, like when you were going to find and where you were going to find it. So, I like the excitement and like the drama of, you have to catch it live or you're really going to miss it.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, like if it was a busier weekend for me, I did appreciate like when Comic-Con allowed you to, go back and like start videos whenever you wanted them. They were just like releasing their availability in the moment. So if it was a busier weekend for me, I could see me like being a little gripey and being like, oh man, like I really didn't get to catch much, but worked out. So yeah. So it was fun, like I said, to have the drama of you gotta get it live.
Yep. I I kind of like it, but it worked for me because I did catch a number of things live, but then also, there's lots of coverage from
Yes.
media outlets
Yes.
after the fact. So it was definitely a mix that way. And
Hmm.
so it worked out just fine then.
Yep.
But overall, like just looking at the whole thing as a bigger picture, I think it was a success.
Hmm.
For me, what we got was a real mixed bag,
Yes.
like really big mixed bag. I
Yes.
left being very excited for some things and being really like down about others. And there
Yes.
was some really like lame panels taking up space in the middle
Hmm.
and between tentpole items. And so
Yes, I
mixed bag.
agree. I agree. Yeah, there was like a stretch in the afternoon that I was just sort of like tuning in and out, but I was like, this is a lot of filler happening right now until you get to your
Yeah.
like main events that are happening. I know kind of like it was like early morning, like open up DC Fandom with big announcements and then like filler in the middle and then like up we're getting to some prime time action again at night. So now's
Yeah.
now's our big stuff again. So yeah, it was a little tough. Pacing was tough.
Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, like I was saying, Gotham Knights video
Mhm.
game, Warner Brothers, Montreal,
Mhm.
they Batman games have been highly anticipated,
Mhm.
leaked, rumored for a long time. So
Yep.
they released a cinematic trailer, which I thought looked very good.
Mhm. I agree.
It gave a story, and the visual fidelity looked nice.
Mhm.
And in this, you get to play as four different people other than Batman.
Mhm.
Um, Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Red Hood.
Mhm.
And yeah, I thought it looked pretty awesome, and I'm actually excited to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one moment where it reminded me weirdly of Assassin's Creed. Um,
Mm.
just when they were doing, like, the locations within Gotham and they were doing, like, the highlight locations, and I just remember doing something, like, super similar in, I think, Assassin's Creed 2 or 3, like, selecting locations around the city and doing this, like, 3D map thing that I was
Mm.
like, "Whoa, that's weird." Um, but it also was kind of nice because it was like, "Oh, that's, like, very familiar gameplay for me." So, that'll
Mm.
be that'll be easy to pick up. It didn't remind me in a sense of, like, oh my god, I've played this before. It was just something that was like, oh, like familiar technology.
Mhm. Yeah, it seems like it's um deviating a fair bit from what we've seen from Batman before in
Yeah.
terms
Mhm.
of leaning it more into kind of an
Mhm.
RPG elements. Which, I mean, look, they've made a number of Batman games already. I
Mhm.
understand if they want to change things up, but I don't know if it's what everybody that loves the previous Batman games is going to be looking for.
Yeah.
Um,
It's certainly different if you're looking for something like, Arkham or Arkham Asylum. Like that's not what this is.
I mean, the principle of it still is. you know, you have your you have Gotham to explore, and
Mm-hmm.
you're taking on loads of enemies, and you can have all this stealth combat. You know, you're kind of making people scared by picking people off in the corner and pulling them up or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I think from the outset that all feels right. Just people noted how there was damage indicator numbers coming off of
Mm-hmm.
people when you hit them,
Yep.
and so you might not get that same sort of chain effect kind of thing that the Arkham games are so known for. How
Mm-hmm.
you can just like pummel a crowd of like a dozen people or whatever, and you're
Right.
chaining combos in between each of them. I don't know that it's going to be the same in
Right.
terms of that.
Right.
And then there's co-op gameplay, which
Mm-hmm.
could be good.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe not, but I always like a game with a co-op option if they do it well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
personally, but yeah, in addition to that cinematic trailer, then they gave us a gameplay walkthrough too. So
Yeah,
this game's coming out next year for all the systems, and we got a big chunk of gameplay.
I really appreciated that because I mean, the cinematic trailer looked great. But I mean, you definitely want to know like how the game is going to play. And considering like that's been such a focus of our reviews of how, you know, Xbox and PlayStation have handled their events and, you know, complaints about not seeing enough gameplay. This was a nice big treat, I think. Um,
I think, yeah,
yeah,
it's exactly what you want in a game that's coming out within a year.
right.
You know,
Right.
a really cool cinematic, give us a taste of the gameplay.
Right.
Perfect. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, and it was a good way for them to make a strong showing at an event like this because I mean, what if you just had the cinematic trailer? I mean, what really could we glean from that? You know what I mean? Like what would you fill up a panel with?
hmm
So good on them for having like enough content to fill the
yep.
panel. So,
And for me, like, I definitely love the Batman world. So, like, the
mhm.
Avengers game is coming out soon, and I like the studio behind that.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't care that much about the Avengers. I don't really want to play as any of those people,
Mhm.
but I would be more than happy to play with any of these four.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm
I'm
Ashley and
not
I are talking about playing it together, and who do we want to play as, you know? So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Nightwing is gonna be like a big draw for me.
I didn't love his from what I saw, I didn't love his facial model.
No, I didn't like
That
love
was
it,
my
but
issue there, but
yeah, yeah. I'm still willing
otherwise
to give it a
normally,
shot
yeah.
though.
Yeah. Yep. So, definitely one of the highlights for me of
Mhm.
this whole thing. So, then
Do
we
you wanna
had
talk about one of the
okay.
lowlights?
Well, yeah, that's like kind of right up next, I think. Yeah, multiverse.
Yeah.
There was a panel talking about the multiverse, and I thought, well, that sounds kind of rich that you're going to talk about how to do a multiverse or something.
Yes.
Um, and this really kind of kicked off what seemed like one of the themes for the day.
Mhm.
Whereas they made an attempt to stress everywhere how they're embracing the multiverse.
Mhm.
And trying to make it look like this was an intentional move as
Yeah,
opposed to what it really is of them trying to dig themselves out of a hole that they buried themselves in.
absolutely. This is cleanup. This is damage
Yep.
control.
hmm And now it allows them to be super lazy. They
Yeah.
basically, everybody can write the thing they want, wherever they want, in any medium they want. And then if they decide that they want to have one of them in another thing, they'll
Mhm.
just, they're coming over from a different Earth, a different
Yep.
universe.
Yep.
Um, it's so lazy.
Yes. Yeah, I honestly had to stop listening at some point. Like I was hopeful in the beginning. I wanted to hear something, you know, even an acknowledgement that like, you know, we didn't really plan this out, but now we're trying to run with, I would have taken over this, like, the plan of the multiverse. And what you have to remember when we decided to create and, really delve into the multiverse, and it was just such, like, you could just tell it was such like a excuse. It was too
Mhm.
little, too late. It was trying to backpedal and say, like, we had a plan about this. It was terrible. And it only emphasized for me how, like, disconnected the TV shows and the movie series have been. Because I feel like the TV series, that have been on the CW, like Supergirl, Green Arrow, Flash, they've done some really great things with the multiverse. And they've had, like, this whole Infinite Crisis crossover
Yep.
that really worked well. And the movies have just been this, like, scattershot, like, throw things at the wall, who cares about continuity kind of thing. And to me, this panel really emphasized these, like, two very different approaches. But then the panel also somehow tried to connect the two without actually connecting them, without actually providing a way that the two are connected. It was just, I don't know, it was just sloppy from top to bottom.
Yeah. I mean, I, I think I think the problem seems to be they're they're really lacking leadership over there with someone with a
Mhm.
vision that is given the control to do things.
Yep.
And um uh, I mean, like you said, the CW stuff seems like they've made their Arrowverse or whatever. They've
Yeah.
made that work. Just keep that what that is. And
Mhm.
then with the movies, just go forward having them all be separate.
Right.
You can have a Suicide Squad series. You can have Batman series. You can have Aquaman continue on and Wonder Woman continue on, but they're all separate
Yep.
because you've messed it up at this point. So unless you stop, like full
Mhm.
stop,
Yes.
and restart, you can't just do this piece here, that piece here, this piece is connected, this piece is. I mean, one of the most confusing things is bringing in this Snyder cut. I mean, are you moving on from that or are you keeping that? Like,
Right.
but where the reality is, we're keeping it all. They can
Right.
all play together. Like
Right. Which is, yeah,
it's
no,
just
it's just wrong.
it's a confusing mess. And
Yeah.
it's um such a failure. I mean, uh, the times were better for DC when you just had like the Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and it didn't have
Mhm.
to work with or deal with anything else.
Right.
Like Marvel struck magic with what
Yeah.
they did. And maybe you guys just don't have the talents to compete with that.
Right.
So
Right.
do your own thing.
Yeah, at this point, like, I just want DC to put out quality products without worrying anymore about how they're going to fit together. Like, I feel like that dream is dead. Like, you need to stop it and, just like you said, have everything just be quality but separate. Like,
Mhm.
just no more, like, Justice League. Like, don't try to do, multiverse. Don't try to do, like, Infinite Crisis. Don't try to, like, get this whole, like, crossover. Just leave that to the TV series because they've done it. They've done it well. And the movies have just become like a mess. So, yeah.
I mean, I understand the drive to do the wants to be able to connect things when they want because that connection, someone said it, 1 + 1 = 3. It really does, where you have one thing that's great, another thing that's great. And when they can connect, you've created something larger than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
It is a magical thing about that. But
Yeah.
people get confused already on the Marvel movies, like just normal people on where things are taking place. When does
Mhm.
this movie take place? But at least they know it does take place in the storyline somewhere in the
Right.
main continuity.
Right.
So now if you have a world where you're not sure where it takes place in the main continuity, or you
Mhm.
don't know what the main continuity is, if it has anything to do with any of the other ones, or you'll
Mhm.
just be lost. A
Yep.
normal person that's not like following this all the time and just wants to see movies.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I feel like I definitely agree with your point that like you could still get lost in Marvel because there's so many characters. It's very complex. It's very sprawling. You've encompassed a lot
mhm,
of different storylines now. So I get that. I at least think with Marvel you've got a shot because you could probably ask someone, even maybe another normal person or not like, like somebody who's
yep,
totally in the Marvel universe but like knows enough. You could get there. You know what I mean?
yep,
Like somebody has the ability to explain it to you. Like I feel like I've followed the DC EU fairly closely and I couldn't explain to anyone. You know what I mean? Like
sure,
I have no faith in my ability to explain how it all fits together in a
mm,
logical, coherent manner. Whereas Marvel, I at least would have a shot at being like, okay, like this is timelines. Here's where I believe everything fits. I might get one or two things mixed up or something, but I could take you 90% of the way there. Whereas
yep.
DC, I'm just lost.
I mean, they could have also just powered through, like just continued on. Okay,
Mhm.
so people didn't love the Justice League movie. Batman v Superman was, mixed bag. People, but like, okay, well, we had that. People still saw them. Let's do the next thing, and we're gonna make
Right.
it better and like
Right.
figure it out.
Right.
Because yeah, Marvel kind of launched. They launched with Iron Man. It was a really good big hit, but then they had Incredible Hulk, which was moderate
Mhm.
success, whatever. And, he got recast.
Mhm.
And Iron Man 2 didn't go over super well. Like there were, even the first Captain America, I'm not sure if it was the crazy, success or whatever. Like they
Mhm.
had to build from something.
Yep.
And despite any of the lesser movies, they keep going.
Yep.
That's part of our story. That's what's happened. And we're moving on, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, Marvel hit a few stumbling blocks early for sure. Um, but there was, I think, some promise of, like Marvel leaked things like, Marvel's plan or, Marvel's like, guideline for, X number of movies coming out. And, there was some sort of like press around the fact that they had this huge, big, like built out phase one timeline. So that
mm,
even if you were like watching the movies that didn't make sense, there was this sense of like, okay, well, I don't get it now, but like it's eventually all going to come together. And it
mm,
did. So I think that the way that that worked, that Marvel took a gamble was they released solid movies. Like, I mean, obviously Iron Man was, like a great way to kick off. And then, there were
mhm,
some solid movies that weren't exactly like mega blockbusters, but they did well enough in their own right. And then like as everything sort of like fit and you would see these like little, clips at the end of the movies that would be like coming
yep,
next, blah blah blah. It just felt like I trust you because you're setting everything up and then once I see the clip, I know that's the next movie coming out and then when I see that movie, somebody from the earlier movie, has like a line about, what they're doing in X, timeline or whatever. So they would give you like these breadcrumbs to follow
mhm,
that I just don't feel like DC ever thought about until
yeah,
now, where it almost feels like way too late because there's too many movies out that
yeah.
they haven't tied together.
It's too bad because I think, where you have an event that you would hope would be like inspiring and have you excited for the future. It's this in combination with all the firings from the week before
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just have me really
Ouch.
worried about DC.
Mhm.
Because it seems to me like they're like, okay, well, this comic book thing, people know that stuff, but we're kind of just done with that. We're going to use the characters we feel like, where we feel like, and just we're going to we're going to get some cool content. We're going to get some cool games and some cool movies, but
Mhm.
the whole connected world, the state of the comic books and like that's a real question. Like, where is their source material going to come from? It sounds like
Mhm.
they're kind of shredding the comic books, they're de-emphasizing the whole thing, you
Mhm.
know? the people in charge of the comic books are like not comic book people. This is
Right.
like a Hollywood enterprise now. Well, Hollywood's not creative at all in any way. That's why they got to go to everybody else for ideas. So
Mm.
you have an idea bank that you've kind of wrecked. You've got a DC that has been making comic books. Oh my God. All right, well, keep going. You have DC that's been making comic books for decades now. Great stuff. I mean, not all of it, but they've had classic characters left and right. Marvel's taken C tier characters and made them A-listers. DC hasn't done this, and now they take the comic book industry, their comic book industry, shred it to bits, de-emphasize the whole thing, put a bunch of Hollywood people in charge of it. And what are we going to get now? I mean, I don't know. This was last week's firings. This weekend's event was not inspiring confidence, giving me confidence as where they're going in the future, despite the individual cool things. So, welcome back. You just wanted to
Hello.
tune out of my rant for a little bit, didn't you? You're like,
Damn
I
it.
don't want to listen to this.
I thought it was going to be more subtle, but man, Skype really lets you know when you leave.
Yeah. um. Anyways, yeah, I just continued a bit of a rant saying how I'm just not confident in their future of making comic books and cool things.
Yeah,
So,
totally fair.
but then we had some more. I don't know if this was right after it. I caught the Flash panel.
Okay.
Which was strange, but Ezra Miller, it did go fast, and Ezra Miller was pretty funny in there. I thought his
Yeah.
little gags and his flashbacks or whatever were
Okay.
funny.
I did not catch that panel. So I just caught some, like, after press coverage kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I've enjoyed Ezra Miller as the Flash. I mean, he to me was one of the bright spots of the Justice League movie. So
Okay.
he didn't need to convince me that he could carry a movie by himself. I was already like, yeah, I'm in.
Well, of a couple actors in controversial
Yes.
legal troubles and things, they clearly have decided to keep Ezra Miller
Mm-hmm.
and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool listening to the director of the film
Mm-hmm.
that it sounds like he did the It movie, and he's been
Oh,
putting
awesome.
like DC like little Easter eggs in his films and stuff.
Fun.
So
Okay.
they gave the example of how the one girl goes into the pharmacy or something and tells the pharmacist, with those glasses you look just like Clark Kent and whatever, and he kind of blushes and whatever. And
Oh
the
my
movie
God.
showing on the
Yes. I
theater
totally know
was
what
like
you're talking about
Batman.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
it was
Funny.
cool to see that this director is an actual fan. It seems like
Yeah.
really cares about the Flash. So it
Mm-hmm.
could be good, but we just don't know what's, they didn't
Right.
give us anything really. So
Right. Yeah.
so I guess neutral on that point. Beyond Batman, they did a panel called Beyond Batman, and they
Mm-hmm.
started out by showing like some stuff from the animated series Batman Beyond, and they
Yes.
kind of had Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne roasting
Yes.
the like 60s, 70s Batman TV show.
Yes.
So
I
it was
loved
like a
it.
little like nothing panel, but it was funny, I
I
guess.
loved
So
it. I loved it. I loved every single minute of it because I loved that show. I loved Batman Beyond. And I was totally psyched to see that it's coming to HBO Max. Like,
mhm. Yeah.
I am totally in. I'm gonna totally rewatch the heck out of that. So that was fun. I mean, I know, like you said, it was kind of one of the afternoon, filler panels. But for somebody like me who that's some heavy nostalgia from childhood, I was really pumped about that.
Yeah. It's the Batman animated series and Batman Beyond animated
Mm,
series are really good. Those
they're
are
good.
really good shows. And
Mhm.
like, ultimately, I guess who cares about a multiverse or one cohesive universe? Because you look at those shows and they're great and it's lots of content.
Yes.
And it just makes like Batman Beyond is so underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
Like why there is no Batman Beyond movie,
Yes.
or why one of the Batman games hasn't been Batman Beyond, like
Mm-hmm.
that's it just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope now that the show is on HBO Max and is available, people take a chance on it and try it out because really I can't recommend it enough. It's such a great show.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll get some attention that it deserves. And who knows? I mean, maybe this is the start and somebody could take an idea and run with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um Suicide Squad. That was
Yeah.
a big panel.
Yeah.
Literally a big panel. Um we
Yeah.
got the full cast rundown.
I was
Um
shocked. I really didn't think this was going to be much of a panel just
okay.
because I wasn't sure what they were going to do beyond interviewing James Gunn, and I had no clues about who was staying from the old Suicide Squad, who was coming
Mhm.
in as part of the new film. So I didn't really know if this was going to be anything, and then this turned out to be like, hey, look at me reveal everybody who's going to be in this movie. And I was really shocked by how excited I was.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely feels like a movie that James Gunn was made to make.
Hmm.
He definitely seems to be embracing the weird and the crazy. And I hope it doesn't feel too much like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Um, you know, bringing
Yeah,
some of that cast over that he likes to work with always. And
yeah, I did, I saw, of course, Michael Rooker, um,
Mhm.
and oh my gosh, Kirk, what is his name? Who plays Weasel? Oh my gosh, I can see his
Oh,
face.
his brother.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn.
Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh my gosh, like that's too funny, a little mini reunion there. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I was really shocked and surprised by the rest of the cast and how big it's gonna be. I'm
Yeah.
a little nervous about that.
Mhm.
Just because when you have so many people that you try and fit into a movie, it can get very out of control. You can lose focus. It can,
Yep.
things can spiral beyond audience comprehension very quickly because you're like, oh my God, who is this? What are they doing? I totally forgot what they can do and what they mean to the movie. So I mean, I don't think it's beyond, James Gunn's capabilities of keeping like a tight
Right.
narrative and keeping a tight rein, but it's definitely a challenge. So, yeah, that I'm a little nervous about it.
I have to imagine that I would think, anyways, that a lot of these characters are going to have very minimal roles, almost guest
Yeah.
appearances, kind of things, and there'll be a core group that
Mhm.
will focus on more, and the
Mhm.
other ones maybe will get expanded upon in a sequel, or maybe they'll die, or something.
Sure. Sure.
Um, because yeah, with this many people, it's going to get messy, and you're not going to care about any of them likely, if it's like that.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, the people who were starting off with, carrying over from the old Suicide Squad, like Amanda Waller, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang. I mean, they have
Mhm.
an advantage because we've already been
Yep.
introduced to them. So naturally, our audience will tend to care about them more because they already know
Sure.
them. So everybody else is kind of starting at a disadvantage. But yeah, I mean, I have to hope that there's going to be just like a couple key
Mhm.
players beyond that. And
Yep.
then, everybody else is, and maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be like two phases of Task Force X, or there's two separate teams like A squad and B squad. I have no idea, how this is all going to all
Yep.
fit together. But
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
interested to see James Gunn try.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I was pumped by Peter Capaldi being in there.
Hmm.
Nathan Fillion. I
Yep.
was disheartened that Pete Davidson is in there, but at least he got picked last in their little
That
team game thing, so
was
that
so
made me a little
awkward.
happier.
Oh my God.
No one
Yeah.
wants him on his team.
Well, yeah, James Gunn like tried to cut off the picking like a little too early. Because he was like, oh, is that everybody? And then there were like four people still left, and then they
Mhm.
went on, and then they were like, oh, Pete Davidson, you're last. That was
The,
that
the
was a bit of
the panel
humor.
was a little tough at parts
Yeah,
just because it was so many people. The talk, the what you get with a large online call,
right,
you know, a
right.
lot of personalities. So,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah, it was overall very fun. Fun way to divide them up and pit them against each other, and of course share some geeky knowledge and yeah,
yep,
introduce us to their personalities. Um,
yep.
yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed at anybody who's been cast. I'm not disappointed at the changes. I think with one exception, I am going to miss um, Will Smith's Deadshot.
Mm, yeah,
Like I really really liked his character in the first Suicide Squad, and I just feel like there's a whole comic storyline potential between Deadshot and Harley Quinn that I just was kind of interested to see maybe play out in another film, and I'm a little bummed that you know Will Smith isn't coming back, but I'm glad that they didn't like recast him. So
right. Yeah, and that was the big assumption that everyone made,
yeah, especially when
was
Idris
that
Elba was.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
like,
yep,
oh, okay, gonna yep.
yep.
Um, so let's see. Alan's monitor has died.
Oh no,
Will like persist for now. I'll keep an eye on the
your monitor died. Oh, Ellen, I'm sorry.
uh hopefully it didn't actually die and it's just like taking a rest.
Taking a
We'll keep
rest.
yeah, we'll keep going for now, I guess.
Sure.
And see if we can figure it out. I'll keep an eye on the Twitch stream on the side here too.
Sure.
See if all of a sudden I know that's delayed, but if all of a sudden that goes down or something like that.
Yep.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. So I hope it's good.
Same.
I'd like a release date, but you know, everyone's a
It,
little more hesitant to give release dates these days. You're just not sure what's going to happen and stuff. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, they did say 2021. And James Gunn did say like, look, I've got it all filmed. We're just,
yep,
editing and whatnot. So there's hope there, but yeah, it's tough right now. Obviously, nobody wants
yep,
to commit, like you said.
yep. We are almost doing these things. I think it's a really good pace. We're going pretty much in, I mean, for me to say we're going at a good pace, the audience can tell us, I guess, but in like pros and cons, because then we reached one of those lulls then again,
Yes.
and there was some stuff in there I thought I would like,
Hmm.
and really wasn't. And so what we saw, like there was a very out of the blue CNN Heroes panel,
Hmm.
and I don't know if like are they another company that's owned by Warner? Is that
It's
why they're in
CNN
there? Yeah,
potentially. I
I
mean,
mean, like it seems like
if
everyone
you
is owned by them, but
I was gonna say, if you said it, I wouldn't have been shocked. But yeah, let me look because now I'm curious. Um, because yeah, it does. I mean, I don't feel like it was an odd panel to have. It just was. Oh, Turner Broadcasting System.
okay, so
Um, so yeah, so
Turner.
I feel like it's weird that like it was like CNN in there like sponsoring this real life heroes, but I don't feel like it was a weird panel to have. Um, in a
I
sense of
guess
like we're in the Hall of Heroes. We're talking a lot about, DC heroes. Why don't we talk about real life heroes? Like it's kind of a cool thing, and you broke up the day a little bit. And yeah, I mean anybody who's there for just like comic book, hardcore DC related
mm,
stuff could just take a break if they wanted to at that point. But yeah, it was a little weird that it was like CNN's panel. Sure.
it's what I would like expect potentially. I mean, when you go to a in-person convention, there's
Hmm.
all kinds of panels, and some of
Yeah.
them are kind of random,
Yeah.
and it can be all over the board. So there's something for everyone, sort of thing. I guess when I was seeing this as their big event, and they
Hmm.
repeat events throughout the day a lot, like it's rebroadcast or whatever. It
Hmm.
seems weird to fill that. It seemed like they're pushing to fill. It's
Yeah,
like
for
this
sure.
should be your event that everybody sits down and tunes in for the big news um, of your, of your media empire here, and
Hmm.
we get either a panel like this,
Hmm.
or then a panel like there was a Batman panel, and it just
Yeah.
exemplified that nothing new is happening in from DC. Like, uh, there's no where's some new IP or something that's really creative happening um from DC, some new line or something that's coming. It's all like just using the same old things again. And
Hmm.
I thought we learned something from the Batman panel that was exciting or whatever. And
Yep.
just was a number of things that we just didn't get anything out of. And
Yep.
again, they weren't inspiring to show us what's we should get pumped about that's coming. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Again, just some filler that I think DC, if they want to do this sort of like fandom event again in the future, they're going to have to figure that out. Um, because yeah, I mean it should be even if, it's not our cup of tea, like, you and I might not be interested in a panel, it should be somebody's. And it shouldn't just feel like nobody is interested. Do you know what I mean? Whatever panel you do, it should either be like, yeah, we've got like a big new exciting announcement coming, like this is what's upcoming, here's our lineup, or it should be like, look, we're taking a look into the past because, and this is like, this technical aspect of something, not just like, oh, we're just going to have like a random discussion about something. Do you know
Mhm.
do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there should be more of a purpose and more of a reason and less of I'm watching it and feeling like it's filler.
Well, and also in a regular convention, you have multiple things going on at once.
Yeah,
So if you're not interested in something on the main stage or whatever, you
right.
can
You
go
can.
elsewhere and do
Mhm.
whatever. But
Yep.
you don't have that choice here. So
Yep.
are you just gonna, yeah, you're just gonna buzz off for 2 hours, or whatever,
Mhm.
um, when you're trying to attend their event? And I don't know.
Right.
It's the first time they're doing this.
Right.
To me, I felt like one of those things, like, for all the things they have, you know, there was plenty of filler, plenty of things that felt weird that they were there.
Mhm.
I felt like we could have talked to some creatives more. We could have had some like drawing lesson, if you're going to do out there panels, do some like
Right.
speed drawing things or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dangerous because it's nice to give people a break and not, have them feel like they need to be glued 24/7 to the screen. But in that break, you also face the danger of losing people permanently when they forget to come
Yep.
back.
Yep.
They're like, okay, I'm not interested in this panel. I'm not interested in the one after it. So I've got like a 2-hour break. And suddenly it's 3 hours later, and they're like, oh shit, I really wanted to see this other panel and I just totally missed it. Forget it. I'm done for the day. Like,
Yep.
who cares?
Yep. And we could have had, DC's had a lot of stuff going on in the past. Like you saying you like the show Lucifer. We could have
Hmm.
talked about some of the other um either legacy content or lesser known things. Like, this definitely didn't feel like a comic book event,
Yes.
and I understand like a Comic Con is overshadowed these days by the movies that are coming out and where the big bucks are.
Hmm.
But I don't know, could have taken some of these weird filler panels and put in some real comic book related stuff.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I mean, I do think that that's something where Comic Con had the advantage over DC fandom, because their style was a multiple offering per hour, multiple
mhm.
panel offerings per hour. So if you weren't interested in one thing, you had, five other choices. And Comic Con did offer that, you know, oh, we have like drawing lessons, There's like adult
Mm,
stuff that, you can go draw, Iron Man and Thor, and then kids are going to draw, Captain America or something. And then they did have like these, because their comics are still going so strong and they're moving into new phases, they did have several panels that spoke to the editors and artists about, where they were taking certain characters next.
mhm.
So that did feel a little more, comic book centered. And
Sure.
but I also think that's an advantage of Comic-Con running for so long. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
even though they had to move to a digital platform, they still got like the basics down and they still know how to run an event and they planned it well. And this is just growing pains for DC hosting their first big all-day event on their own.
yeah.
So, we'll see if they do it next year and if they maybe have a better plan.
Yep. Yep. Well, moving along to something that to me was the most exciting thing of the entire day.
Yeah.
Um, the Batman, the
Mhm.
movie, the Batman.
Mhm.
Um, starring Robert Pattinson. Um, I loved this teaser trailer.
Mhm.
I loved it so much.
Mhm.
There aren't many movies I'm really excited for right now. It doesn't sound like a lot coming out. Just as I think of what I know of, I'm not pumped for a lot.
Yep.
This one I am excited for now. I mean, I was already excited to see what R. Pats brings to the role, but getting to see a little bit in action,
Yeah.
you know, um, I think it's awesome. And like I'm not a big fan of like just on a whim changing characters race or different things, but Jeffrey Wright is so much Gordon. He's
Crushed
just
it.
is he just
Crushed
works.
it. Yes.
So yeah,
So excited for him.
I have a lot of things that I'm excited about for this film, and
Yeah.
I have no complaints based on what the teaser we saw. So if you have
Yeah.
complaints, give them to me.
I mean, small. I'm being more and more convinced every time something new comes out. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've talked at length about my reservations with Robert Pattinson being Batman.
Yeah.
This trailer helped me a lot. Like we got to see him both in and out of the suit. We got to hear him. Like I heard his Batman voice. I was like, all right, like this is believable. You know what I mean? Like he did a
Yep.
great, like deep voice that wasn't like as intense as Christian Bale could get sometimes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it
Uh
goes. Yes.
right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the whole movie, so don't quote me yet. But for this little snippet, like
Yep.
the suit worked for me, the voice worked for me.
Hmm.
um like that little tease of a fight we got with kind of
Yeah.
an underling that worked for me. I had a little bit of trouble when he was being Bruce Wayne, and
Okay.
not even when he like took the helmet off and was kind of transitioning cowl. Thank you, sorry, I could not think of the word in the moment. um so he took the cowl off and he was like transitioning, between being Batman and Bruce Wayne. Like even
Hmm.
that was fine. It was literally just like there was a moment where he was like ducking in a crowd and he was wearing a suit and a trench coat and there was like some floppy bangs or something happening. And I was like, oh, like, I don't
Mm.
know, like you're so young. Like everything else in the movie, I wasn't feeling, that way. And then it just sort of like threw me out again. So I might be nitpicking, but I guess I'm just gonna have to, wait and see the full movie before I make full judgments.
I mean,
But
I think
convinced,
that seems to
getting
be
convinced.
common sentiment. Yeah, yeah. But they're not sure about his portrayal as Bruce Wayne, and I understand that. Like in my mind, Bruce Wayne is a man.
Yes,
Like he's at least 30, if not 40. You
yes,
know, he's an adult.
yes.
And Robert Pattinson, he's whatever, he's 30, something, I suppose, or close, but he looks very young.
Yep.
And he seems to me like he'd be potentially a very good Terry McGinnis. I mean, he's a
Yes,
little older for that now,
but
but
he's
still,
got
yeah,
enough
he could.
baby face that he could
I
pull it
know.
off. So yeah.
Yep. But I'm also okay with if this worked and was really good, how awesome would it be if we could get another like great Batman trilogy? You
Yeah.
know, we had Keaton in two, but it was kind of the first three movies there were good. And
Hmm.
then you had Christian Bale's. Like, I am totally on board for another, as we could like regularly scheduled, awesome Batman film. I would
Hmm.
love that. And so
Hmm.
why not have someone young? They can grow into the role a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about it, you know, Bruce Wayne is portrayed either as like a 10-year-old boy watching his parents get shot or he's a
Hmm.
man. We just
Yep.
don't see that in between. Like it always is the
Yep.
time jump between young Bruce Wayne and suddenly we're a grown up.
Yep.
Even Christian Bale's, like origin story was him starting out, I mean, transitioning between, watching his parents get shot again and then like starting out, but he was like starting out as a man. You know what I mean? We saw none of
Yeah.
these like teenage years. I would say that he's definitely not younger than, 28 when we first meet him in Batman Begins, or at least he doesn't look it. He looks,
I'm.
fully formed. He's a man already,
They
even
were
if even
trying.
if they're trying to sell that he's younger.
Yeah, because
This,
there were a few scenes that they seemed to try to age him down a little bit or something.
yeah,
Just where he was like confronting Falcone at first,
right,
where
right.
he was like contemplate. There was a few moments,
Yeah, I
but
still felt like he was in his later 20s though, whereas I feel like Robert Pattinson's take on the character could be like 22 and just like out of college or something. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like he just
right.
he encapsulates a younger 20s character to me. So it could
Yep.
be very interesting to finally explore this like middle ground because of course the
Yep.
Batman is supposed to be set between, he's already started being Batman, but it's, he's not really like the Batman yet. He's not, got a
Yep.
bat signal in the sky and he's not famous. So it'd
Yep.
be interesting to explore this middle ground because we haven't done it before, but it's still hard for me to like
Hmm.
totally fully believe that this is just going to be great. And I'm just going to have to watch the movie and make my
Yeah.
judgments then. But yeah.
It it's always one of these things where, of course, we have our preferences and what we have in our set in
Hmm.
our mind, and but if something is unique or original and really done right,
Hmm.
it can be, like we damned with our, hopes and
Yeah.
dreams. Like they do a great job. And so yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
I
I'm totally willing to admit if I'm going to be, wrong about, you know, Robert Pattinson's ability to pull it off. Like if he does, like definitely will admit it. But yeah,
mhm.
just have reservations in the now.
Yep. Yeah. And they just guess they described this as sort of year two. Like they were gonna
Hmm.
make that Darren Aronofsky year one Batman
Yeah.
film
Hmm.
before. So they're describing this as year two. So it sounds like this connects to the HBO series coming
Hmm.
about the focuses on the like the Gotham PD.
Right. Yep.
So it
Hmm.
seems like he's just really getting his start in that, and we probably won't see much of that.
Hmm.
He'll
Yep.
be talked about some or whatever. But I think that's kind of cool that we're getting that connection. So if this world they're setting up is good, um, that'd be I'm excited.
Yeah. Same.
Um, yeah, we see Riddler, lots of Riddler stuff.
Yes.
Uh, I
Oh,
think that's cool.
I'm so
Um,
pumped. Like I haven't seen the Riddler obviously since Jim Carrey. And
yeah,
that was just like a blast. Like I love that whole character. So I'm
but a more
totally pumped.
serious, like toned down Riddler, a
Right.
little scarier would be cool.
Right, exactly.
So,
Like I still like the general concept of the character, but I like that this will be edgy Riddler. That's going to
yep.
be really fun, I think.
And I agree with your comment here. It says, "Where was Alfred?" I was thinking that
Yeah.
too. I guess it's like, who's Alfred? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe it's listed on the IMDb.
it is. It's Andy Serkis. but I was just,
What?
yeah.
What? What? Oh my gosh. All
Yeah.
right. Well,
Let me
I
make sure
mean,
I'm telling you correctly because holy cow, that would be like a really weird um mistake to make. But
fake news, fake
fake
news.
news.
It's not answer.
Nope, that is super true.
Wow.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's
he's
why I was
great
like,
too.
where is he? Like, I can't even see Andy Serkis as Alfred. Like, come on.
See, but he's not, he's good and young too. Like they could be in this for the long haul. And to me, like
Good.
let's get 3 films in this series that they take their time with. Like get them
Yeah.
right. The people are young
Eat them
enough.
well.
They don't have to have one every 2 years.
Yep.
We can have one every 4 years. Like just take your time, make it right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Use other movies, to fill out the years. That's fine.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I just yeah, I felt like we got a glimpse of everybody else that was going to be in the movie, and then I was just like, this big gaping hole. Where was Alfred? I just wanted like a shot, like one shot of his face. So
Yep.
yeah,
All right. We still have more to cover. Still more to
yeah,
cover.
pushing through.
Some won't take so long. I just loved the Batman, so I'd
Hmm.
linger on that a bit.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, they're making a game, Suicide Squad
Hmm.
the game, where they're supposed to kill Superman, I guess. They released a very fancy looking cinematic. Definitely felt next
Yeah.
gen, even though it's just a cinematic.
Yeah.
And it is coming to just next gen, PS5, Xbox Series X, and
Hmm.
PC, 2022.
Hmm.
I mean, we don't know anything from this.
Right.
It's definitely one of those things like, yeah, it's out of ways, so there is no gameplay. It's just letting us know this is coming.
Yeah.
It's by Rocksteady, and yeah, I mean, something to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I sort of felt like it was back tying into the multiverse as our through theme for the day. If
Mhm.
it was like about killing alternate versions of the Justice League somehow, just because that clearly wasn't regular Superman who just like fried a pilot with his eyes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I was
that's what
just
they
like,
always
oh,
do is,
I just wonder if
yeah.
this is going to be somehow like multiverse tied in as well, if that's like the
Mhm.
theme that DC is going with. So,
I think what they're doing is I think that they were gonna make probably another Batman game or something, and
mhm,
then they got James Gunn to do the Suicide Squad movie, and they're like, "Hey, we maybe have something here." James
sure.
Gunn was very, very adamant that studio is loving the film. He loves
Hmm.
the film, and I think they're hoping to get Suicide Squad movie out next year. People really get into that and some of those characters, and it becomes a big success for them, and therefore they'll be really pumped to play a Suicide Squad game in the following year. I
Yes.
think that's their plan here.
It's a
And
good thought.
yeah, it might pay off. We might see a very Suicide Squad focused DC world for a while.
Hmm.
If James Gunn pulls this off and this game is good. So,
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the kind of future of Suicide Squad hinges on this movie, I think.
mhm.
Because if this isn't enough to invest people in the Suicide Squad, I think they're just going to drop it.
Yep. Yep. The next thing must have had you excited.
You know, obviously it did. How could I not be excited? I was both so excited and like so disappointed because there was no footage of Black Adam, which like
Mhm.
I was so hoping. Like, I mean, I know they haven't even begun filming, so, like, I wasn't hoping for, like, any sort of, like, teaser trailer or anything, like, ridiculous like that. But I was hoping for maybe, like, a real shot of The Rock in a costume. Do you know what I
Yeah, you
mean?
just want your phone wallpaper.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shh, don't tell Chris. It's okay. He's playing softball right now. He's not listening. So I can geek out as much as I want to. But yeah, I really did want to see like the real life version. I mean, we've gotten so many other teases, long before now of obviously Robert Pattinson's bat suit. And then we got, Ezra Miller's The Flash, like updated his costume. So I
Yep.
was just really hoping for something, that I could take away from this. But they did their best. I mean, they obviously didn't have anything yet, so they just pulled together this like CGI, brief storyline trailer of, an animated Rock as Black Adam. So
But he's so like his narration was great.
it was so
Sold the
great.
thing,
Yeah.
He's so like it did have me excited for even as little as it was.
Yep. And
So
it did a great job of condensing the story into something that was easily followable, but really didn't give a whole bunch away, but got you excited, for what was to come. It was like just brief,
mm,
like, here's my background, here's how I, kind of became Black Adam. I'm not your typical superhero. I was, locked away. Now I'm back. What's going to
yep,
happen?
yep.
So, yeah.
Um, I have to say is an example of, sometimes less can be more because
Mhm.
this wasn't a whole lot, but it got me excited.
Mhm.
Going back to the Suicide Squad for just a moment, the
Mhm.
after trailer
Yeah.
stuff was painful. It was
Yeah.
so bad, and it went on
Yep.
for so long. They were trying to be funny and stuff. It just was not good. It
Yep.
was really not good.
Yep.
Just one of many cringeworthy moments of the day.
Yeah.
It was not good. So
Yeah. I did love the Black Adam panel because I thought it was shorter, sweeter, to the point. You got some interview time with The Rock, and his enthusiasm just
mhm,
sells this. Like, he's
right.
just genuinely excited to be part of this, to bring this character to life, and you just like feel that genuinely. So,
Mhm.
yeah, this is much more effective.
If there's anyone that's literally shaped like all comic book heroes are drawn, it's The Rock. So you got to have him in something,
It's
right?
his head. It's his head, seriously. Like, it's the perfect like head above a suit, and then like he's got the huge like shoulder arms. Like, yeah, it all works.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's close enough without him looking too freaky because,
right.
like, if you watch how Bruce Wayne is drawn in the animated series, if you saw that person in real life, you would be terrified.
Oh
With
god, yeah.
someone with that large of a chest with a small head, and like it just would
Well,
be like, oh, what is this freak?
I was gonna say, in the animated series, he's just like a weird block. His chest is
Yeah.
just like a solid thing. It's just not like an actual human torso. It's like they put like a Lego building block on him. It's so weird. But yeah, so I'm obviously very excited for Black Adam. Whenever that is able to start filming again, that's going to be so
Yeah.
much fun. And I just feel like The Rock is going to have a field day with, doing press and PR and doing like
Yeah.
sneak peeks and everything. So yeah.
Alan says Hawkman next. I am totally, there should be Hawkman, Hawkgirl movie. And this is
Mhm.
another gripe I have. Like DC's, I think I've said this before in different words, I guess, but DC has a very wide, deep catalog
Mhm.
of characters and stories, and
Yep.
they don't take advantage of them. They
Right.
just have to do Batman and Superman over and over for the every decade.
Mhm.
And we're branching out slowly, and so getting
Right.
stuff like James Gunn pulling weird characters for Suicide Squad, like it gives me hope. But
Yes.
yes, you know, let's get some other people on here. It's
Yeah.
they can do it. Wonder Woman. You watched it. I did not. I've
Good.
seen enough Wonder Woman. Last trailer I saw was already too much. It just looked badass. I'm still worried because they like the director fired the entire team that were made the first
Yeah.
one. So that
Mhm.
has me concerned. And then the whole thing with the love interest, like you need the consequences there or whatever. So like I'm
Mhm.
concerned but excited.
Yeah.
So, but I just didn't want to see any more about it. So I didn't watch the panel.
So I watched it, and I was actually relieved to have watched it because there were several great things about, especially the trailer. So, one of the things the trailer did was not show us any really new content, which was great because, like you said, I've already seen too much of it. So, I didn't really want to get
Yep.
like another sneak peek. But it just showed me all like the cool things I'd seen before to remind me, like, right, yeah, like I'm excited about this movie. Like, they do keep saying it's upcoming, like it's got a theoretical October release date. So if that holds true, yeah, this like got me re-excited about it coming out. Um, but then the one thing that it did show that was new was a little, just a titch more of Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. And I really
Yep.
appreciated that because I'd had a lot of doubts about the validity of her villain and her ability
Sure.
to pull that off and make it work. And this really like went a long way towards easing some of those fears for me. Just like I felt like the Batman trailer did for my fears about Robert Pattinson, this did for me about Kristen Wiig. Am I totally
Okay.
100% convinced? No, because there's a lot of the movie left to see, and she could still suck in the rest of it, and they just pulled together the good parts for the trailer. But
Yeah.
I mean, these good parts were there, so I was excited about that. So
It's very interesting. I'm guessing Cheetah is going to be a side villain and not the main villain, if I had to guess,
I
unless they
think,
said otherwise.
yeah, I think she's going to be a big side villain, though. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
she's going to be a big part of whatever main villain, like their plot. Maxwell Lord. Okay, that's going to be the main villain. Is that the guy who like sells like your fantasies and is like, I can give you whatever you want, and that's how Diana gets Steve back. I think is
Mm,
he
yeah.
he creates some sort of deal where like, show me
Right.
your deepest desires and like I'll give you what you want, and like that's how she gets him back, and that's of course how Kristen Wiig becomes Cheetah, um, because she like wants to teach Wonder Woman a lesson about what it's like to not be as powerful.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
So did they give the sense then that she is going to be she's not a woman dressed in a cat suit. She is maybe is, but has powers yet? Like
Yeah,
she's
so
extra powerful.
so it kind of so they show this like evolution to Cheetah where she kind of starts out and it's like a little like, oh, it's a woman in like, some cheetah print and like it just is sort of like laughable. And then she
Mhm.
like evolves, like she like gets a better costume, she becomes more feline, and then like you see her physical features start to transform as well. So I
Interesting.
think I think it's some sort of like side effect of whatever Maxwell Lord is doing when he's like, I'll give you what you desire. I think it sort of like maybe takes on its own life and spins out of control. And that's how, Cheetah maybe becomes almost feline. And she also does have like superpowers as well. They don't give a whole bunch of that away in the trailer, but yeah.
Okay.
So that's sort of like what I was getting, because there's a moment where she shows up and she's almost looking like a human cat, and Wonder Woman's like,
Mm,
"Oh my God, what have you done?" So
right.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it
Okay.
was a very interesting trailer.
Well, hopefully they just decide to actually release the movie sometime.
Yes, they did. They did confirm that nobody was planning on releasing it digitally. So
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, there was that little nugget of information. So hopefully, yeah, we get a theatrical release
But I
soon.
want the digital release too. Can't have both ways, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, eventually maybe, but yeah, not
I
for
mean,
now.
people are starving for content right now, like
Hmm.
just just do it. Just
I
do it.
know, I
Do
know.
it. Let's see. Okay. Aquaman.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything with this.
I didn't either.
I just heard some roundup stuff, and it
Hmm.
seems like Amber Heard was not mentioned at all, which
Right. I wasn't
other,
surprised.
yeah, so we'll see.
Hmm.
They say, I guess, that it's gonna be a little more serious and have
Hmm.
more relevant, be a more relevant movie. And I
Hmm.
guess this has me very worried for the next film. I mean, obviously we haven't seen anything yet, so
Yeah.
I'll reserve my judgment, of course. But part of what made the first one to me really, really good was it was just plain an exciting, well done action adventure movie
Fun.
that I think is very accessible, very exciting. I don't think we get enough of it these days, and
Yeah.
so I don't think we need to get extra serious with Aquaman. And Jason Momoa does such a good job of playing a lighthearted
Yeah.
kind of element, a tongue in cheek a little bit here and there.
Yes.
Um,
It's so natural.
so
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just like his natural wheelhouse to be like fun like that. That I'm also worried that we're taking it in a serious direction. Not because I don't think Jason Momoa can do it as an actor, but just because there's something about him being Aquaman that felt so genuine, and that also connected me with the movie. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like that was part of the movie's charm, was just how comfortable he felt and how much fun he
yep,
seemed to be having. So yeah,
yep,
I'm also confused by this whole like we need to go a serious direction. I also read James Wan talking about how he's such like a horror fan and wants to introduce some like elements of
mm,
horror into the movie. And I was like, oh boy, like normally I feel like I'd be all for this, but again, it just feels so tonally dissonant from the first Aquaman that I'm not
yeah.
loving that announcement. So
Well, hopefully it's just they liked what he did with the first one, and they're just kind of letting him do what he wants. I
yeah,
guess ultimately that's probably the best, because it seems like otherwise it just gets messed up. You're like, no, 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 we don't want to see that kind of film.
right.
So if he's making what he wants, like that's maybe for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, like there's a type of film. To me, it's an Indiana Jones film. It's the original, or it's the Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and it's Aquaman. It's like those kind of movies. They're in that fun summer blockbuster genre
Hmm.
where it's hitting those right balance of notes between serious and heartfelt and dramatic and whatever. And yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I
Don't lose
agree.
that. Don't lose that.
I agree.
On the more funnier section or side of things, Shazam, the title was announced for the next one, Fury of the Gods. That
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Yes. Yeah.
And in,
Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just saying it's supposed to come out in November 2022.
Yep, the whole original cast is going to be back in terms of, Billy's family and the rest of
Uh-huh.
the his fellow superheroes now. Um, but then they announced a new casting edition, Sinbad,
Oh,
and I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, I mean,
wait, the person Sinbad is going to be
yeah,
in it, you're saying?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Not the
the
character
person
Sinbad
Sinbad.
is going to be in
No,
Shazam.
no.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
literally the man, the actor, Sinbad, is going
Okay.
to be in Shazam 2. Um,
I mean,
yeah, I can't, because oh they made a joke about Shazam, and Sinbad was like, "I've already been in this movie," and yeah, it was like a whole funny it was a whole funny thing. Um, which I mean, I feel like Sinbad, if he was going to be in the DC universe, like at least he's
This
in
is where it
something
should
like
be.
yeah, this is I mean, Shazam
Mhm.
is so lighthearted, it is like so comedic. Yeah, there are serious moments, but like
Yep.
obviously the film was dominated by, being lighter. So
Mhm.
sure, I mean, he could fit in here. I just don't know who he's playing, what he's gonna do. So yeah, I'm a mix of excited and horrified at this casting.
Yep.
Just 'cause I don't know what to think. So,
Yep.
we'll see.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah. I enjoyed the first one, so I'm ready for the second one.
Yeah,
In
for
good
sure,
shape.
for sure.
A few other things quickly yet. It's
Yeah,
I don't care about these as much. We have talked about the one, but Titans, the
yeah,
live action version of Teen Titans, started a few years ago on DC Universe.
yeah,
Again, forgotten about kind of thing because no one watched DC
totally.
Universe. But it's kind of it's from my understanding of it is it's a CW like show that's
Mhm.
trying very hard to not be a CW like show.
Yes.
So,
Yes, you've hit the nail on the head exactly with what I saw from the trailers. Um,
okay.
I totally forgot that they were doing this, that they were bringing this back and going to make this a thing that was happening again. I am not thrilled about it just because it's Teen Titans to me is just so much a cartoon that I just can't get out of my head enough to see it live action. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I'll give like an episode or two a watch, but yeah, it is very like teen drama esque. That's
Mhm.
stretching to I think prove that it's more serious, and that's not the way to go.
Yep. I mean, like think of the Teen Titans was very popular and it's still very popular now thanks to Teen Titans Go.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, Cartoon Network is basically Teen Titans Go network.
So true.
Um,
So true.
like all day. Um, and it's a great show. But imagine if we had a new Teen Titans proper in the vein of like the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Mm,
That would be, in my book, that would be great.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, but they had to go live action, spend all
Yeah.
the money on it, and like I don't know, it's
Yeah.
live action with like teen superheroes. It's
But
tough. Like that's not an easy endeavor to, you know.
it's the hard part is they're teen superheroes, but they're not teen superheroes. Do you know what I mean? Like the actors who are playing them, some of them are clearly too old to be teens. Like,
Sure.
and it's just like such a stretch. Like Minka Kelly, what are you doing in here? Like, she's not a teenager to me. So
Mm.
I'm having like a hard time with casting choices there too. And I think
Well,
if they were voices, I could have gotten over it. Like, go
right.
ahead and like do like a cartoon and have these people be the voices, and that's great. But in a live action, it just does it again, it just doesn't work for me.
Well, and it's another one of those things where, I mean, I watch anime all the time where the
Mhm.
hero of the world is 14 or whatever,
Mhm.
like often the age is indescript, but it's very young. It's fine because it's animated. Again, we've talked in a previous episode about how your suspension of disbelief is way more flexible when it's animated, and it's
Mhm.
one of the benefits of animation. It is not realistic to have a human child that's a teenager of
Mhm.
any teenage year, basically, to be in a team that is fighting crime and saving the world. Like it
Yep.
just doesn't, you know, it's
Yep.
not a believable thing. Like,
Yep.
I mean, it's part of an issue with Robin as Batman in live action. You wouldn't put Robin and actually be a child
Right.
because he's not fighting anyone and not getting his ass pounded,
Right.
like, or
Exactly.
handed to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a mistake. So I guess that's why they would try to cast people that are a little older, but and that's why it's Titans now, not
Right.
Teen
And
Titans,
Teen
I
Titans.
suppose.
But yeah,
You
it's
know.
hard for those of us who grew up with it, and it's entrenched in our minds as Teen Titans. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it could. I still think it could be done, but it's just one of those things. It's very difficult, and
Mhm.
DC doesn't do a good job usually with finding that right talent or whatever to do it. So
Mhm.
it's yeah. And then wrapping up with the
Right.
Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
been teased
I
for
didn't
so
watch
long.
this. Yeah.
We've been waiting for it for so
I still
long. It's finally coming.
are we though? It's like it's 4 hours.
I'm
I mean,
I'm I've been waiting for it just so I can freaking see it and be done talking about it. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like people have
Mhm.
been for so long like the Snyder cut, it's so much better and it's going to like save the Justice League, and I'm just like fine, I'm ready to see this thing and either decide that it did or didn't do what you said. But I don't
I
want
don't
to
think it's
talk
gonna be
about it
that.
anymore in the theoretical.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be that much better.
Yeah, I don't think so
That's
either.
that's my take right now.
Especially based
It,
on that trailer that they showed us. It just like wasn't anything different other than like looking like a Zack Snyder film. Do you know what I mean? Like the
Hmm.
style was
Right.
there. So I was like, oh, right. Like I could totally tell this is Zack Snyder. Other than that,
Hmm.
like I didn't see anything different.
We'll see.
So,
Ready to eat my words, but I mean, it's a tough bar to cross or whatever mountain to scale
mhm,
when Ben Affleck is Batman for me
mhm.
personally.
Yep.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that movie's gonna be really good.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, I think the pressure even has gotten to Zack Snyder because people have been talking about it so much that like every interview he's given, he's like, "Man, like I don't know, like there's a lot of pressure to release this thing and for it to be good and people, think it will do what they think
Mm,
it's going to do." So I even feel like he's like, "Man, this is too much. Like I
yeah,
think
cool
you're
your
putting
jets.
right, you're putting too much stock in my movie." Like
Yeah. I wanted to make the movie that is like my vision. I didn't get to
right,
do that. Now I'm gonna monkey with it like how I
right,
wanted to edit the film. But you're still
right,
not refilming it. It's
right,
still like
exactly.
so
Yeah.
it's gonna end his career. You watch. Zack Snyder
Yeah.
never work again because they're
Poor
like,
Zack
wow, that
Snyder.
was such a let's a letdown. So
Right. Yeah, these fans who, were trying to, do him a favor and be like, "Oh, the Zack Snyder cut is so much better." They're really gonna drive him right out of Hollywood with their
yeah. Yeah.
with their insistence on this film.
Yep. Oh man. All right. Well, anything else on DC Fandome? DC's big
No.
first digital convention event for the year.
No, I don't think so. I think man, we really covered a lot.
Yeah.
They did give us a lot of content in a day. So,
Yeah, they gave us something to talk about.
yep.
We certainly have been giving DC you know, our attention over the
Yes.
last few months.
Yes.
Or like it's so yeah.
Giving them our
And
attention and our unfiltered thoughts on certain occasions. So, yeah.
that's true. But yeah, there was also I think somewhere a Doom Patrol panel, but I really didn't want to watch that either because I just didn't, we've seen season 1, we haven't seen season 2. I didn't
Yep.
want any extra spoiler stuff there. So,
Same. Yeah, I definitely skipped that panel. Just same reason.
yeah.
So,
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, you should let us know. Like, are we wrong? And DC is way cooler than Marvel, and DC's got it going, and the multiverse is going to be the greatest thing ever.
right.
And Robert Pattinson, he'll never be anything other than a sparkly vampire to you. Or, I mean, what are your thoughts? Let
Yeah.
us know.
Yeah. Is
So
DC Fandom now your favorite event, or is it going to beat out Comic-Con for you? Let us know if you like the
yeah,
style, like the live event kind of deal. Yeah,
yep.
interested to hear.
So you can leave those comments on YouTube in particular. You can tweet us. Both of those places you should follow us and share. I mean, if you want to comment on something, you should share it so then others will see your comment on it
Mm-hmm.
and then comment on that as well. Um, Subscribe here on Twitch or follow us, I should say,
Hmm.
and check out our website. Um, Thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song. You can find them on Spotify and Instagram. And we'll be back in the middle of the week for another spoiler cast where we'll be talking about The Boys. We're watching through The Boys. So we get done with season 1 before season 2 hits.
Hmm.
This week will be, was it 5 and
Shoot.
6, I
5 and
think?
6. Yep. Yep. You're correct.
Yeah, man, cruising right along.
That's right.
So yeah, tune in for that, and I'll try to wear a different hat. So we'll have different names. It's a fun
Yes,
time, but
it is.
that you just see. Yeah, yeah, yep.
Tune
So
in, tune in to see more of that.
yes, gimmicks will work. All right. Um, Anyways, thanks for joining me once again, Andrea, for Popcast on the Rocks on this fine Sunday evening.
Hmm.
And we'll see you all later.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.